We wrote these constitutional documents, and then we proceeded to disrespect and dishonor them. Every application that came before my commission, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, so in 3 years, what do we think? 20 cases a month, somebody else to help me with the math on 2 hours of sleep. But that volume of cases, I would suggest that perhaps 1 or 2 were recommended for disapproval by the planning department staff. That doesn't add up. We've written a constitution, and yet we disrespect it. We take case after case, exception after exception, and I would not have become disgruntled if they were small, if they were minor, if we were modestly changing our minds. But in fact, what we've been doing for the last at least 30 years is planning, not through our planning documents, but through these applications that come from developers that we treat with the same justification, validity, and credibility as our Constitution, and that doesn't make sense to me. Here's what I need you to do, and you are so sophisticated about this. You do it better than anyone else in the city. What I need you to do is, when an application comes in, your brothers and sisters around Los Angeles have a tendency to wait until that public hearing, and they're 2 minutes at the microphone. And they prepare for these sessions, and they audience build for these sessions. And I'm here to tell you what you already know, but they don't. Wrong. By the time that public hearing occurs, not only the planner, but the council member, and the developer, and the environmental impact report author have spent weeks and months, if not years, in rooms together, creating a project, and by the time the hearing arrives, your 2 minutes go in one ear and out the other. It just doesn't fit with what is typically anywhere from 20 to 220 pages that are in front of the decision makers. I need you, we need you, you know this, to be in those rooms, to be at that brainstorming, crafting, planning table from the get-go and never leave. Okay, the dirty secret that you know, that Carmen hopes to change, and with your support and the support of some critical mass of council members, we'll have a shot at. I need you to know that the council member that you have, you guys have dos, is the most important person in that decision-making room at all times. Make no mistake about it. My sad story ends like this. At the end of 3+ years as the president of the Planning Commission, it occurred to me that except for a couple of swan dives that I had taken over the cliff, you were with me, you know those cases, SB 1818 being a legendary one, billboards being another, where I decided, you know what, let's just call this like it is, with the planning staff spitting bullets while I took the microphone and said, let's look at this together, people. The planning department, actually, the director said to me, you can't testify. You're the president of the commission. I said, but I'm a lawyer, and I'm the only one in this room that's going to speak the truth. I better testify. So, except for those couple of occasions, Richard, Matt, where I went over the cliff, I came to the conclusion that I was ineffectual. And I had tremendous regret about that. So it seems to me that, John, wherever you are, you'll ask me what did I do when I resigned? And what I did is I went and found and introduced myself to Carmen Trukanich, trying to figure out whether there was an honest man who would partner with us to set some of this to rights. And I guess I drank the Kool-Aid, and it was very good. And it had a delightful outcome last night. It's the beginning, though. It's not the end, it's the beginning. And the heavy lifting that we need to do together with the city attorneys, with the city council, and with the planning staff is, for some of us, overwhelming, and for others of us, the very challenge we've been waiting for. I need your partnership. I need your outspokenness. Richard, Matt, unless you'd like me to continue, I'm happy to take questions.
We have a few for you. John, you want to grab the microphone? Thank you. We're going to do this a little different tonight. I'm going to actually, a few of you did hand in some questions, so I'm going to call on you first. John will come over to you with the microphone, and you can ask your question directly to Jane.
So sorry, Matt.
But before, go ahead.
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want there to be at least one shill, one ringer who will ask about billboards.
Well, actually, I don't know if I'm the ringer, but I want to actually ask the first question. A lot of you in this room know that I'm the president of the South Valley Area Planning Commission. There's 5 planning commissions, local APCs, area planning commissions in the city of Los Angeles. And then there's the one big city planning commission, which Jane was the president of. And I got appointed by Antonio at the same time that you did on this position. And I actually was on this planning commission, not as the president, but just as a commissioner before when Richard Reardon had appointed me. The question that I have for you is that, and I totally respect what you did by resigning, and I understand why. My frustrations are very similar to your frustrations in the planning department, or in the planning decisions. And we have a lot of inconsistencies with the different zoning administrators and the different things that come in front of us every single, twice a month. And I read your letter when that you sent out when you resigned, but my puzzlement is that you were such a good thing for the city as the president of the City Planning Commission. Why would you step down and not continue to fight from inside? I just felt that the job that you did leading the City Planning Commission could have been better served for the city if you had stayed on.
So, I lost sleep over the very question that Matt is asking, and maybe Matt, a month of lost sleep. But here's what happened. You guys know how to count to 15 because it takes 8 votes on the city council out of 15 to act, right? So you guys have become very adept at counting those votes. Now what happened to me is I looked at my own board of 9, and I will tell you that right about the time that Measure B hit our public radar, and maybe a bit earlier, it may have been when mansionization hit our radar. It may have been when SB 1818 hit. I saw my coalition on the 9, my ability to collect 5 votes, dissipate. So, Matt, I was going to be working ultimately as a minority voice, and largely a silenced minority voice, because the votes would be aligned